All right, so we're hanging out with James Wesley, and of course you have that new song that we're playing called Real.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, so glad that you're here. And of course that song is real. It's really touching a lot of people because it's about real life.
It is. It's definitely about real life, you know, and it's what we're living right now, you know. I mean, you got the reality TV, but you know, hopefully there's more people that know what real is, you know.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, we don't really know much about you, or I don't, James Wesley.
Okay.
I mean, you know, and I think that, you know, people say, wow, is that an overnight success? I would say probably usually not.
No.
How long have you been performing?
It's been a long road, you know, but it's well worth it. You know, I started singing, you know, really young. I mean, my mom and my grandmother, I was singing standing up in the back seat of my grandmother's LTD singing Country Roads by John Denver.
Wow.
That was the first song. I was probably
and no
maybe 3 years old. That's right, exactly. When you could lay up in the back window or in the floorboard, you know. But that was the first time that they remembered me singing, you know. But I started singing in clubs when I was about 18. I turned 21 in a club one night. My cousin brought a birthday cake in. We cut the cake up and we shared it with everybody that was in the club. And but I did that. I mean, I sang all over southeast Kansas. That's where I grew up, a little small town in southeast Kansas called Mound Valley. And 200 people in my hometown.
Wow.
So, you know, coming from a little small town, you know, your word is your word, and that's the way I am. I mean, if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I do it, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I left southeast Kansas and moved to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and performed on a country music show there for quite a few years, and that's where I met my wife. And
how did you propose?
Well, it was actually in the living room. I proposed in the living room, not at her mom and dad's house, but she actually had a house, and I got down on the floor and I proposed to her there.
Oh,
But yeah, that's real. But I lived, and then that's where I met her in Eureka Springs. We got married, and I performed on a country music show in which her mom and dad had this show there in town. And I was performing. I was performing at another show.
So that's why you married her.
No.
Make sure you stayed on that show.
I tell you what. Here's what's crazy, though. I mean, I don't know if we've got time to do it all, but it's crazy how we met because one night I was working at this other show, right? So I left there. I went to go to Subway to get a sandwich. And as I'm walking out the door, there were these two girls sitting there at the table. I'm not the kind to go up and say, hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah.
So anyway, I walked out the door, got down the road, car honked. So I pull over, and this girl gets out of the car, and she comes over, and she starts talking to me. She goes, well, let me introduce you to my friend. Well, then Mindy gets out of the car. We start talking, you know, we kind of hit it off. She had no idea what I did. I didn't know what she did. So the next day, I'm at the dollar store buying this bachelor stuff, this cheap $5 grill, to cook out on, and had an apartment out on the lake.
Yeah.
And I'm getting gas. She pulls up and she goes, hey, what's going on? I said, I'm getting gas. I'm going to go grab some hamburger meat, and I'm going to go out and grill on my grill I just picked up at the dollar store. I said, come on out and I'll fix you a hamburger. So she did, and we've been together ever since.
That was a good line. But she kind of stalked you before, you know, stalking was probably, you know, right?
I think it was actually her girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
So it kind of backfired a little bit, but you know, we're all still good friends. She ended up marrying a preacher, and her friend did.
Cool.
And then Minnie and I we've been together, and like I say, we've got two little ones, got a boy and a girl, and we moved to Nashville. We sold the house and about everything we had, and loaded up the truck and moved to Nashville 4.5 years ago. But in that meantime, I drove back and forth for about 9 years. So,
wow.
Yeah. It's almost 14 years overnight success.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on everything. And,
well, thank you.
Thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Love your song.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. James Wesley.